Alabama just pulled off one of the craziest wins I think I've ever seen. And I thought a couple of years ago when Bryce Young drove the ball down the field, that was going to be one of the craziest things I've seen in that Auburn stadium. Hell, even before that, I thought the missed kick, the missed field goal, return for a touchdown, Auburn win was going to be one of the craziest things I ever seen in that stadium. However, we just witnessed one of the craziest endings to a game I think that we will ever see. A play that all year has not been done. Someone completes a pass for a touchdown, a 4th and forever. It was one of the craziest things that I've seen live on TV. And there's a lot of things to unpack in this game. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about in this game and how this actually stacks up in terms of the Iron Bowl and the history between these two teams and the fact that this game was crazy from the start. But let's take it from the top and talk about how it all started off and how we all knew that this game was going to be a wild one. So let's take it from the point where Alabama scores their first touchdown. Roydell Williams goes in, he scores a 2-yard run. Right after this, I believe the kickoff had some drama, and you know that drama was the fact that they did not call the obvious face mask there. That was a face mask there, and on top of that, it was a block in the back. So I guess they just decided not to call anything there because they saw two things, but you still gotta call something, I think. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They didn't call anything, so we move on. Auburn then scores a touchdown of their own, and they made it 7-7 in the first quarter. And you can tell that Auburn early on was going to dominate this game in terms of them being able to get however many rushing yards that they wanted to. Because if we look at Peyton Thorne's numbers, the numbers from Peyton Thorne honestly say that Auburn got blown out, but they did not. Peyton Thorne goes 5 for 16, 91 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. Now, I will say one of those INTs came late in the game when it was already over, but at the same time, if you look at a quarterback stats and they go 5 for 16, they don't even get to 100 yards in a game, you obviously think and believe that they lost. But Auburn was able to run the ball very effectively. In the second quarter, Will gets a 32-yard field goal. Now, he did miss one in this game, which would have changed the dynamics of the game, and we probably would not have gotten that great touchdown pass from Jalen Milroe to end the game. But at the same time, he did miss one. I'm not really going to touch on it, but I did want to bring it up for a second. Jarvis Johnson gets a 12-yard run, and the score now is 10-14 Auburn's way. But to in the half, Jermaine Burton catches a 68-yard bomb from Jalen Milroe, and you can tell throughout that game here he was looking for the deep shot, but he could not quite line it up until right then. He saw Jermaine Burton right there, and it was a beautiful pass, and we know that he can throw the deep ball very effectively. Now, I will say, my guy, Jalen Milroe did make some mistakes in this game. This game was not perfect from Jalen Milroe, but at the same time, Jalen Milroe is one of those guys where it doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter if he messes up. It doesn't matter, what is being thrown his way throughout the entire game. He can find a way to bounce back from it. I think that the two mistakes that are very apparent to everyone is the fact that he went across the line of scrimmage and threw the ball for a obvious illegal forward pass. But at the end of the day, Jalen Milroe always finds a way to make up for the mistakes that he has made, whether that's an interception or whatever it may be. He somehow finds a way. He is not rattled by the moments, as we clearly know. So fast forward third quarter, we get a field goal by Will Rocker, 22 yards, which put Alabama up 20-14, but Auburn then follows that up with a touchdown pass from Peyton Thorne, which shocked me at the time that it happened. I couldn't believe what I just saw, but Peyton Thorne threw a touchdown pass. Good for him. And then now let's go ahead and move on to the fourth quarter, where we get a field goal from Auburn to start off the scoring. And I do want to say and give a hand clap to the Alabama defense for only holding them to a field goal, because I honestly thought during that drive that Auburn was going to get a touchdown. Now, I think the play calling a little bit was shaky. They started to pass a little bit when I thought to myself, like, why are you not running the ball? I'm not mad that they, decided to throw a little bit more than I thought they should, or call some plays that I thought were kind of shaky, but at the same time, the rushing attack of Auburn could not be stopped by the Alabama defense that day. Maybe if they played again tomorrow, Alabama could stop that run, but they could not do anything with it during this entire game. But let's continue. Then we have what I would say is the beginning of the end for Auburn, because they did stop Alabama and Alabama had to punt, and so it was a little bit of time left on the clock, but you had the muffed punt return, and that led to what we are now going to consider one of the best throws that I've ever seen to win a football game.
Firing near corner, it's caught. Touchdown, Alabama!
And let's talk about some of the mistakes that Auburn made in this game. And I think a lot of people will agree with this. For one, the defensive scheme that a lot of these head coaches, not just Hugh Freeze or not just whoever called that defensive play, a lot of the times they get in this situation where it's a Hail Mary or something like that, they send zero pressure. For what reason, I have no idea. I think he rushed 2, maybe 3, it might have been 2 in a spy, something weird like that. And that gave Jalen Milroe enough time to sit back there, file his taxes, maybe get a cup of coffee, go back to the hotel room, take a shower, shampoo his hair before he actually had to throw the ball in the air. And what happened? You got what you got. A loss, Auburn. That is exactly what happened to you, because you did not bring any pressure. That defensive game plan at the end was bad. Now, you can say or make the argument that there was a push off there at the end in order for him to score, but when have you ever in the history of those type of passes, those type of plays, seen somebody actually throw a flag there? I have seen plenty of games where there is a team that loses the game or wins the game because of some type of PI in the end zone, and the referee does nothing. They literally swallow the whistle. They don't worry about it, all right? And so what you see is what you got. The man was in the end zone, almost wide open to a certain extent. The guy was in the vicinity, but he was able to get enough separation, and you got a perfect throw. And here we go. That's what we have. So that was, I think, the main reason why Auburn lost. The muff punt, and obviously that horrible play call right there at the end. And even though Alabama got this win, we know, and I honestly believe that Auburn had this in the bag. If the muff punt didn't happen, they probably go on to win this game. And talking about that as well, Georgia is coming up next, but at the same time, Alabama has some things in this game that they're going to have to clean up. They're going to have to be able to stop the run, because Georgia will be able to run the ball effectively if the running defense of Alabama is looking like this. And Jalen Milroe had to clean up some of those mistakes. You have to know when to take off and when not to take off. I remember seeing Nick Saban on the sideline screaming like so loud. I think that if he was able to scream any louder, a lung would have literally came out of his chest, because he was telling Jalen Milroe to run and get some more yardage. It was in that last drive right before the touchdown pass. He had so much green light in front of him, he could have gotten a lot more yardage, but he decided to throw it. And I think that's when he got that second illegal forward pass. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's when that happened. And so those are just a few things that are going to have to be cleaned up. But at the same time, this was a great win for Alabama. And where does this rank in terms of Iron Bowls? I think that if you're an Alabama fan, this is the greatest Iron Bowl for you. But if you're an Auburn fan, this is definitely not. The greatest Iron Bowl for you was 9-10 years ago when the field goal was missed and returned for a touchdown. So I think those are definitely 1 and 2. And then thirdly, I will put the Bryce Young comeback in there, but maybe I'm too young to remember some of those that were way back in the day, so help me out on that if you can. And also, I want to say that I honestly believe that this right here is a candidate for greatest game of this college football season. I will say the Colorado game that was earlier in the year, even though that's way back now, I think that is definitely a candidate as well. Let me know what you think is the greatest game of this college football season, but I honestly believe that this is the greatest moment this college football season. Hell, this may be the greatest moment of this century, and I could talk about this play all day, but let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. What thoughts were you thinking before the play even developed? I honestly didn't think it was going to go down like that. I thought it was all over, but hey, I was wrong, and I was so happy to be wrong. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video.